Hey everybody, thanks so much for tuning into Young Money Investments. My name is Cameron Benyon, and today we're going to be talking about one specific ETF in general that I am going to be paying extra special attention to, as we are seeing a pretty good reversal happening right now in the market. Now this is one that if you've watched some of my videos, probably have heard and saw my reversal call probably about 3 to 4 weeks ago. This is going to be that company or that ETF. Let's roll into it really quick, guys. So if you've been following my channel previously, you've seen that I have been trading UGAZ quite heavily. UGAZ is an inverse, or actually an ETF. It's not an inverse ETF. DGAZ would be the inverse, but UGAZ is the ETF for the natural gas futures. It is traded at a 3x leverage on the markets, and so it is 3 times as volatile as the actual price of natural gas. One of the things that has happened ever since natural gas had shot up so high in the fall time is it has really came down quite a bit. It was up in the high to mid 200s and is currently sitting at a price of $47.67 per share. It has dropped quite a bit and had lows, I believe, down at about $36 a share. So it had came down massively, and so this is going to be kind of my technical analysis of UGAZ, as well as some of the reasons that I'm paying extra special attention to it because of the forecast for this coming week. And what happens is when it is colder out, more people use natural gas. So let's jump into that really quick. So in taking a look at the 1-day, 1-minute chart here for you guys, you can see that on Friday we had quite a big move. We had a move roughly from peak to trough of about 14.54%. That is a large move, obviously, for any stock or any ETF in general to happen in a day, and it was very consistent, especially as it had this kind of breakout here at about 10, I'd say about 11 a.m. It just continued. It continued to rip, consolidated a little bit, came down slightly, but then just continued to rip through the end of the day. Right before the end of the day, it had a little bit of a sell-off, but in the aftermarket hours, it has continued to rise back up, getting close to its high of the day of about 47.17. Now, the reason why I am bullish on UGAZ is because if you do take a look at the 180-day chart here, you're going to see that massive sell-off that we've had from highs of $260.23 all the way down to lows of $36.23. The one thing that we've seen is that the RSI had been very oversold. As of recent, we've seen a lot of push up. The RSI is trading at roughly a 63, which is, obviously not great, but in terms of how far it had sold off, this to me is still not a bad indicator. In fact, I think this is a bullish indicator that we are seeing a reversal happening with UGAZ. Now, as always, I do not like to swing these ETFs because of the volatility. I mean, the fact that this was volatile as of almost 15% in a day goes to show that you do not want to put any large sum of money in either UGAZ or DGAZ, because that can fluctuate so rapidly and so quickly, and at that point you are just essentially gambling. The reason why I like UGAZ is for several different reasons, as it has consolidated down here at that $36, $38 price point for quite some time. We can see that it has been happening for several weeks now, starting about Monday, about a 2-week period that UGAZ has been actually consolidating, and that is a good sign. A couple indicators that I would like to pay attention to is this old or previous line of support that UGAZ had all through the summer months and into July, August, September, and then as it started to rip obviously up here in November. What I have seen, and one of the things that I wanted to do, is first draw a line of support down here where it had its lows. That is going to be roughly at about $47. But being more cautious, wanting to also play what we should be looking at kind of in the shorter term, I turned my attention to the 20-day 1-hour chart here. And so if you take a look at the 20-day 1-hour chart, you're still going to have that line from previous support and resistance back all the way on the 180-day chart. But right here, you're going to see a good level of support previously. So one of the things that I wanted to do is take a look right here. We've seen that this line has acted as support previously until it just gapped down and had a major gap down in the off hours. And that's why I don't like holding this long term, is because a move like this, which is roughly, 25%, I mean, is that 25%? let's go right here, a move about 16% in aftermarket hours. You don't want to be caught in that if you're on the wrong side of the equation. But with this consolidation happening, really that $36 price point is looking like a very solid level of support. Granted, we're not at $36 right now, and so I would be foolish to say, oh, well, we're at that price, when no, in reality, we're up here at roughly an 18% gain since that $36 price point, because we are trading at about 40, what are we trading at roughly right now? About $47. So this level of support right here is at about 50. We're trading at about 47. And then my level of support for this 20-day chart is right here at about $57 per share. So technical analysis aside, that is what I am seeing in terms of what we have going on a technical standpoint. Yes, the RSI is very oversold. It's gone up over 25% in the past week or so. So yes, it is going to show that it is very, not oversold, pardon me, overbought. It's going to show that it's very overbought because of the price increase. But with that being said, and because of the massive, massive sell-off that it had, there is reason to believe that this should be a good level of support. One more thing that I wanted to also pay attention to is that as it is able to hold above this EMA line and continue to trend between the middle and upper VWAP during my day trades, that is a price point that I would like to see. I like that this simple moving average right here, this is the 180 day, this is the 280 or 200 day moving average. I like that if it can actually stay above these, we should continue to see a bullish pattern. One thing that I would like to do, and this is going to be my personal preference and how to minimize my risk when trading UGAZ, is I would like to see UGAZ at least pull back from its high, getting somewhere close to the EMA line. If we can get a pullback somewhere down here in terms of, in terms of a pullback somewhere, I guess if you hit the EMA, you're gonna be at roughly about 5.5%. I would say if I can get a pullback of around 4%, I would be happy. If I can get into this range, I will most likely end up buying. If it does cross the EMA and does end up looking bearish, I'm going to cut losses. But I love to buy closer to the EMA when you've seen it trending up, pulls back, and then try and ride that from the EMA up and continue that upward movement towards that $57 price point. That is my plan in terms of day trading UGAZ in this coming week. One more thing that supports my theory recently is that with the change in weather and with the cold spells that are coming into play, that is going to affect the price of UGAZ. So as colder weather comes in, you're actually going to see the price of natural gas increase because demand is higher. That is an important thing to keep in mind. And so as I went online and did a simple search here, just typing in cold weather in the US and search the news here, I got a ton of articles talking about cold weather, polar vortex, things of that nature that are happening. You can see 7 hours ago, the Weather Channel talked about an Arctic cold fuel, widespread snow, threats from the Rockies to basically the East Coast is what this map right here is showing. 2 days ago, polar vortex has fallen apart, which could unleash a much colder end to January. So colder air here towards the end of January. That is going to be the prediction for the Weather Service. And if we do click on this article as well, you're going to see, boy, I am just getting nailed. You're going to see that the Arctic cold could fuel a widespread snow threat from Rockies to central eastern states late week into next weekend. So with this and with that colder weather coming in, we are going to be seeing most likely, again, prices of natural gas increasing because the use of natural gas is going to be increasing. So supply and demand, supply and demand, supply and demand. That is the key thing to keep in mind. I wanted to make this video quick. I hope that that was helpful in my analysis of UGAZ and what I will see. Again, my main rules for trading UGAZ this week are going to be A, do not hold it overnight. That is going to be hard for me. That is going to be difficult because of the bullish nature that I have towards UGAZ right now, because I am a long-term trader, a long-term investor. I'm not normally a day trader. So that is going to be a hard thing for me. I do not recommend holding this overnight because of the massive gaps between that. Yes, you potentially lose out on maybe 5-10% throughout a week's time if you don't hold it overnight, but you also minimize your risk of losing 5 to 10% at night as well. Because of the volatility of this ETF, you have to be very careful. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pay attention to the support and resistance lines. That resistance right there at about $50, and that's going off the 180-day chart. That resistance right there, that's going to come up at 57 on about the 20-day chart, where I saw that it had touched, came up, and then actually hit that line again. And before it had a big, large gap down in aftermarket hours, that was looking like a good level of support, was that $57 price point. As it stands right now, we're at 47. It's going to be curious. I'm interested to see what it does over this next coming week. I hope this video was helpful. I hope this video was insightful. I hope it helps you to understand kind of my thoughts, philosophies, and trading practices when trying to get into some of these volatile ETFs and play that volatility in my day trade. It is really just a day trade account in TradeZero. So thank you so much for tuning into Young Money Investments. If you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments section. If you have not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button, turn the bell notification on. I am going to be going live more on a weekly basis. I would love for you to be a part of my live videos. I hate talking to just myself if I'm going to go through the efforts of making a live video. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will talk to y'all later. Bye.